Hello, hello, welcome. I am so excited today to just be dropping into a conversation that I feel we all have when we're beginning anything new or desiring to do something that just feels slightly out of reach. This is diving into self doubt, imposter syndrome, worthiness, and how to achieve your dreams and your goals, even when it feels like it's not possible for you. Before we dive into the heady stuff, take a moment to connect to the heart. Allow yourself to drop into breath. Breathe in and out of your nose. And as you breathe, allowing yourself to come into a space of stillness, notice, how do you feel? Like, how do you really feel? When you can tap into the essence of your current present moment, grab a pen, a journal if you're in a space where you can take notes. Maybe you want to keep your eyes closed and let this be a feeling experience, or you can just listen while you multitask. That is controversial, right? Is it something that we can do and get the most out of it? The one thing that I wish I knew when I was stalling at what it is I desired, feeling like an imposter, feeling like it wasn't possible for me. This was my first ever experience of really having a huge dream to sell everything I own and move to Costa Rica to start a retreat business. I was following people on Instagram and I didn't feel I was putting the people that I was following on this pedestal. Like, if they're going to go to her retreat or his retreat, their retreat, who the heck is going to come to my retreat? I was putting these people that I was following on some sort of pedestal and really making things up in my mind around why they were better than me because I admired them, because I looked up to them, because they were a few steps ahead of me. And what I realize now, being where I am 8 years later, having achieved so much more than just being a retreat leader, but really a leader in the online space, in the yoga coaching space, for multi passionates, for other teachers, coaches, healers, and one with a desire and a dream and a devotion to change more lives, is that it literally does not matter how many other people are doing what it is that you or I desire to do, because there's no one out there in the world with your energy, with your essence, with your gifts. There's so many things that make what it is you do, no matter how many people do it, special, simply because it's you. In yoga, they say no one size fits all. In fitness, trying to find the right size, find the right exercise, find the right food structure, there isn't one thing for anybody. And so, you doing the thing that hundreds of other people are doing is unique because it's you doing it. It's you as the leader of your life and your brand. And the next thing that I realized was the one thing that I thought was going to hold me back, the one thing that I was judging about myself, comparing myself to others, is the one thing that actually allowed me to stand out. The one thing that we think is going to hold us back, the one thing that we don't love so much, is actually the thing that others love in us, which is why relationships are so beautiful because they mirror back to us our deepest fears and our insecurities. And then we have the opportunity and the privilege to grow through that one thing, really falling in love with the quirks. You see, the thing that you're judging, that I was judging, is actually like there's many people out there that are successful doing the thing that you desire to do, and they have and hold that similar trait. And it can hold us back when we think that we can't share it, that we can't talk about it, that we can't bring it to the forefront. I remember being a little girl, 12, 14 years old, getting taken advantage of by men, thinking to myself, who's gonna love me now? And I was only 12 when I had that first thought. And now growing up, 20 years later, realizing that I'm not the only one that felt that way. I'm not the only one that thought that. And I'm not the only one that experienced that. And that one story, if I go to share it, is what's going to connect me with dream soulmate clients. Because when you think, okay, she's got it all figured out, they look like they got it all together, they look like they're lucky. What we're missing on the other side of social media, the pedestal that we put them on, is that they actually had and held similar fears and doubts, but took it, went for it, had the courage to go. And they didn't know how they were going to do it until they'd already done it. And that's why confidence is a practice. That's why growing for something that you've never gone for before is going to allow you to become the go to leader in your industry and in your field. Something that has been coming up consistently in the last couple months with my clients who have had a big dream to start their business, to grow their business, to go online with their business, is like, I don't know what I'm meant to do. I don't know why I'm stuck. I'm not sure. I have all of these ideas. And then when we walk through the amplified impact process, they come back to me and they're like, oh, Amber, I realize why I have students that are stuck. I've been stuck for so long. Yes, you are attracting clients into your world that are stuck, that are mirroring back to you what you're growing through. Just the other day, I had a one on one coaching call with one of my clients inside of the Create Waves Make Change mentorship. And she said, oh my gosh, Amber, I know why I've been lost on finding my purpose for so long. Because I'm meant to help others find their purpose. And the moment that I discovered that inside of myself through your journal questions and our last coaching call, I was having these conversations with my best friends. And then as I sat and I continued to contemplate, I realized I've been having these conversations since I was young, and these memories just kept coming back into my mind. And now the content's flowing through me. I have 5 reels I could post in one day. She not only like had this huge discovery, she created her program, she's ready to launch her program, and all of those ideas she once had is a solid concrete foundation. And the reason that this is so beautiful for me as a mirror reflection is I too had the doubt, had the what if, had all the questions, had all the wondering what if. And something that can happen for us is we're like, I did it before. The client that I told you was stuck. She's like, I've done all this before, Amber. I've been a life coach and a yoga teacher for 20 years. I've been studying marketing. And she still felt pulled to work with me. And it was through our work together that she broke through. And she's like, there's that moment of like, should I actually invest in this? I've already invested that much. And what happens for us is we start to attract relationships, mentors, and clients that are allowing us to break through the mindset, the old habits, the old patterns, so that we too can take our clients with us. What I love so much about yoga, mentoring, coaching, therapy is that we grow with our clients. This is a collective. This is a new era of like, I'm so devoted to personal growth and development that I'm going to listen to the desire that I have. When I doubt myself, when I wonder what if it could go wrong, you have a choice to feed the what if it doesn't work or feed the what if it does. And every single time over the last 12 years of my devotion to human growth and becoming the happiest, healthiest, wealthiest version of me, is I've realized on the other side of the fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of, am I making the wrong decision? Is this life that's way bigger, way more magical, way more dreamy than the conscious version of Amber today? It gets so much better on the other side, and there's so much fear in the space between here and there, which is why I love Tony Robbins, because he talks about taking massive action. And if you've been following me for a month or 10 years, you know I talk a lot about massive action because I'm an Aries and I take massive, messy action to grow for my dreams. And right now I'm in the void in my own life of taking on this new business endeavor in Costa Rica. And I'm holding so much being a mom, a wife, a business owner, running two companies, showing up online, serving my clients. And then I have this other wild, crazy dream. And it's me holding the void of trusting myself. And what I've been doing is calling my mentors, writing my mentors, and just saying, like, can you hold this with me? How do I find this answer? And the consistent theme is, what does your heart tell you? And I know, I write in my journal every day, Amber, look back at all of the evidence that when you had a desire and you went for it, it always worked out. Even if it didn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out, it always worked out on the other side of the roadblock, which is why recently I just did a YouTube meditation, an insight timer meditation on the Ganesha mantra, the Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 12 years ago, I graduated my yoga teacher training, and this mantra I chanted for 5 years consistently. When I was going down the hill in Costa Rica and my brakes stopped, when I was going through a breakup, when I was having a miscarriage. The thing about the Ganesha mantra is that it doesn't remove obstacles. It gives you the strength, the courage, and the bravery to get through the obstacles. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And this has been an anchor into my personal practice to be able to grow through what life gives us. And this is why when you're getting ready to start your business, to pivot your business, to do something you've never done before in your life or business, we feel afraid because we are being initiated into the ability to hold the void for our clients, for our future clients. What is it that they're growing through, that you've been through, that you've held for your clients? And when you figure out how you've done it, you can put together your process to show others how they too can do it. And then you don't have to, they don't have to make the same mistakes as you did, because you're teaching them the shortcut, the easier way, the proven way. And by that, you are allowed in this space to then amplify the impact you have in your own life. For me, we talk a lot about being the ripple that makes waves. And the ripple starts with the impact of how you live your life. And for me, it's always been living a yogic lifestyle, to not just do yoga, but to embody the yoking, the being and the doing, the ability to masculinely strategize and go for it, as well as the feminine to embody the work, to be the work. And when you weave those two together, you eliminate stress, burnout, external validation, lack of worthiness, and you come into this cohesive way of living your life. And something that I know to be true and that I have been coaching my clients on last week is you don't get rid of self doubt, fear, or who the heck am I to do this? You shorten the distance between taking action and feeling it. And so when it rises, you can ask yourself and journal these questions. Why am I the go to person for this? Why do I have the evidence that this is possible for others? Why did this become such a strong passion of mine? And then through these journaling questions, you have the ability to see, of course, you're meant for this, but you're a human with natural ebbs and flows, which is why I recently wrote a journal article on riding the waves of being an entrepreneur. It isn't just up. Nothing in this human experience is always up. We find ourselves down into a valley, and then we do the work to climb back up to the top of the mountain. And every time we get back up to the top of the mountain, it feels so much better because we know that no matter how low we go, we can hold the space between down low and up high. And this is how we become. This is where the growth happens. This is where we are allowed to amplify our impact through doing the work first. Whatever it is that you think is holding you back, the one thing that's going to get you to where you want to go is messy action and the ability to hold the yoga, be able to hold the duality of yes and no. What if can't? What if do? You've got what it takes. You were born with gifts, skills, and passions that no one can replicate because no one is you. Each human in this world was born special. And that specialness is your ability to see how lucky you can be when you go for it. You're already the embodiment of this. When you claim who you are, you claim your gifts, your skills, and your passions. And then the ability and the bravery to go for it, to just freaking go for it. Don't try to get rid of imposter syndrome. Take action to seek and create the evidence of what happens every single time you trust the heart. Trust and follow your heart. It's the internal compass. It's going to co-create a magical life where you are more fulfilled, happy, and wealthy than you could possibly even imagine in your current state of consciousness. Keep going for it. And every time imposter syndrome arrives, self doubt arrives, thank it for being here, for allowing it to help you grow to your next level so that you can have an even bigger impact than ever before. That's it for my message today. I will chat with you in our next session together. If this lands for you, don't hesitate to reach out, share what really landed for you today on Instagram. You can send me an email. If this is something you're like, I come back and I listen literally every single week. Thank you so much, Amber. Be sure to share this with someone you know that's looking to grow in their life, in their business, with the ability to continue to lead others with them. All right. I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye.